right? It was the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my life. And then I thought, I can't even lift this guy up and get him in my car. He's too heavy. It's impossible. So I'm panicking, not really, okay, what am I going to do? And then my girlfriend comes over and says, George, we need to get the kids. And I went, kids? Yeah, kids. Huh? Yeah, kids.
My name is Cal Wedby.
And my name is Tricia Sykes.
And this is Turn Left at the Cactus. Linda Wiggins and I recorded this episode back at the beginning of the summer of 2024. My co-host, Tricia, and her partner, Marnie, had already left to head north to visit family and friends and to escape the heat. Shortly after their departure, we had a series of really bad car and bus accidents on Highway 5. One of perhaps the worst was a church bus returning north that flipped and rolled just south of town at about kilometer 5. George Peters of Raceland fame was first on the scene and was instrumental in notifying officials, rallying emergency vehicles, and ferrying many victims to the local clinic. He was also responsible for opening up Raceland to an impromptu fundraiser which provided a great deal of the initial monies that went to helping the accident victims and their families. Now, George's home/clubhouse has become a central meeting ground for all things off-road desert racing in our community. But as we have discovered, his vision doesn't stop with just cars. Raceland has become a center for club meetings, birthday parties, cornhole matches, and just about anything a person can dream up. The simplest way I can put it about George is that he reflects Raceland, and Raceland reflects George. And unless you have an opportunity to visit with George or to visit Raceland, it's hard to describe. So Wiggs and I decided to see if we couldn't capture some of George and his vision to share with you in this podcast. I will also add a note here that this episode was recorded at Raceland, and the sound quality is going to reflect the fact that we are in a large, open area with several mini-splits running because it was hot. We'll also admit that this episode doesn't even begin to do George or Raceland justice, but we do hope that you'll get a small taste of what it would be like to sit at the bar, visit with George, and experience Raceland. We hope you enjoy. There are a few recollections in this podcast which some listeners may find uncomfortable. Welcome, George, to Turn Left at the Cactus. We're really delighted to have you here with us today.
I'm super excited to be here, to be able to talk about San Felipe and how much we all love it.
I think our listeners would really like to know a little bit about yourself and a little bit about why it is that you came to San Felipe in the first place. I know they would love to know more about Raceland, and we're personally interested in your background with the cars, and of course people have been asking about the accident. So we'd like to see if we can cover all those things.
A lot of topics.
So we'll see how much we can get done.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, cool. So why don't we start off by talking a little bit about where did you come from and what's your journey been to get to this point?
Well, I started off at 1 year old. My mother died on my birthday of a brain aneurysm. Yeah, so I moved in with my aunts, my dad's sisters, because he was in the military. He was a major in the military, and I lived with them until I was about 7 years old. And I was that kid, we don't want Georgie coming to my house because he takes apart our toys. my cousins, they would say they didn't want me to come at a young age. But I was fortunate because one of my uncles, he He designed how we store nuclear waste today, and he developed plating machines, gold plating machines, stuff like that. And he had a big shop where he lived. So I would go in the shop every single day, and they'd have to kick me out. I'd be in there too much, but I wasn't afraid of machines and tools and stuff like that. So right away I was working with tools and welders and all kinds of stuff. At 12 years old, I welded my own go-kart together out of all the bed frames in the house. I literally took every bed frame out of my parents' house and set the beds on the ground while they were at work. And I started cutting and welding. And I didn't have a welder at my house where I was living then, but my neighbors did. So I would carry the parts and pieces to their garages and walk in their garage and use their machines. They would let me use their tools. And it actually went 60 miles an hour. But that was at 12 to 13. So I was just the kid that liked to make things work and know how they work and why they work. And then I just started working in the film business. My stepbrother was 15 years older than me. So when I was 16, I started working in the film business as a grip, because that's what he did at the time. And I was driving a grip truck. So I got my Class A license at 16 years old. I still have it to this day. I'm only 23 now, though. No, 62, so ish. Yeah. And,
We're hopeful.
Right. And, so I was driving a grip truck at 16, and taking care of it and managing, all the equipment and stuff. And then I got a call. Well, I called a friend, Norman Barnett. He ran a studio called at the time Producer Studio. And it was to be the Desi Lou studio. And Playboy ended up buying it and calling it, today it's called Raleigh Studios. But Norman, I went into an interview with him, and I wanted to work there. I knew a lot of the equipment and stuff like that from working. And he said, well, George, we just don't have a job for you right now, but when something comes up, I'll let you know. And I said, okay. So 2 weeks later, he calls me up, hey, George, that job opened up. He says, this guy, his name's Kevin Costner. He thinks he's going to be an actor. He was the stage manager for Stage 4, and I took his job, which is kind of funny because he laughed when he said it. Oh, this guy, Kevin Costner, he left, and he thinks he's going to be an actor, and he laughed. Norman was running, he was head of production for Warner Brothers for last 15, 20 years. So, but his brother, Mike, ended up working for me, much older than me. Mike Barnett, he ended up one of my crane operators for my business. So basically, that's where I started into the film business. And then I was a grip for 15 years. I got to work with the biggest directors in the world, Joe Pitka, Rick Levine, Neil Tardio, these huge directors. And we did everything you could possibly think of. Britney Spears, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan. I traveled around, did all Pepsi, Nike, Doritos, Apple, their major national spots, pretty much every video you could possibly think of. Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Lionel Richie, all the people from, We Are the World, We Are the Remember that? I did all that. Hands Across America, all those types of things I got to film and be a part of.
George, not all our listeners know what a grip does or what your responsibilities are.
It's very difficult because people, they don't understand. Their first and foremost job as a grip that a lot of people, and even that are in the industry today, still don't even know. Your safety officer on the set. You might have a fire marshal, but he's not the safety officer. Technically, the key grip is. And you're an engineer, basically. And you have to work with lighting, and camera motion and camera movement is all grip's responsibility. But we did all kinds of things. Like if you wanted a giant ceiling to fly in and out, we would rig it and we would do it, and build it. And like I did a light beer from Miller commercial with the tap dancer Gregory Hines, and they built the stage. It was a bar. And when the guy asked for a light beer or whatever, the bar opens up and it's a dance, a stage coming in with him dancing on it. And we do all the rigging with giant barrels of water and balancing and pulleys and really complicated stuff. People don't really realize how important a grip is, to the set, because you got a lot of people's lives in your hands. And if the key grip is not happy about something, if somebody's rigging something and you look at it and it says, no, that's not safe. That's it. They stop it. The assistant director will come over and say, hey, we got to do it differently, or you guys better fix this. So that's what a group does. So I got to do that for a lot of years and meet a lot of great people and learn a lot of stuff. And then I ended up dating a girl after I got divorced named Jennifer Chapman. And her dad, Leonard Chapman, he's the biggest studio equipment rental business in the world by far. And they have billions, so many pieces of equipment. Back in when I was dating her, I don't know, 25 years ago, just one piece of equipment he had was a Pee Wee dolly, let's say, camera dolly. And he had 5 different versions and he had 3,000 of each one. That's just one piece of hundreds of equipment that he ran. I mean, huge company. And I started helping him with their equipment. And he actually patented things in his equipment named after me. Because I changed the way that some of the stuff that he would design. I said, hey, this doesn't work right for us as a grip. And so that was great. And then I just came up with the idea of the ultimate arm, the crane on the car. There was a very crude one built.
So that's your trademark then?
Ultimate arm. The ultimate arm, yeah.
Okay, describe what that does.
It's the ultimate arm is a camera platform. It's a stabilized inertial navigational camera platform that you can go over rough terrain, down sidewalks or curbs or
wow, that
on
sounds
any
really
kind of vehicle,
complicated.
and it's stabilized, and the image is really stable. And this is back in 2001, before this type of technology really existed. There was something on the market that was very crude, extremely crude, but I wanted to do something very different. Was
that the Russian arm?
It was at the time. Now, actually, it's funny you say that because I'm the one who trademarked the name Russian arm. I'm the one who I named my system the Russian arm originally. So that's funny you came up with that name. But anyways, I'll move on from that. So the ultimate arm, I went to Leonard Chapman, that girlfriend's dad, and I said, hey, I want to do this system. First of all, actually, no. He had these giant 30-foot cranes that were manually operated and some of the best in the business, but they're manually operated. And they take thousands of pounds and difficult. And we didn't have stabilized systems at the time. So when you would come to a stop, it would get a harmonic or a frequency. And it was horrible. And I would say, Leonard, I've been doing this new thing on car mounts and car rigs that I invented. And I'm using a piece of lead with surgical tubing inside of this box, and it's like the shaker weight for your boobs kind of thing, right? So when a car hits the bump, the camera mount stays steady, and it absorbs the energy and it reduces the frequency. It's not like if you grabbed a butter knife and held it on the end of the table and went, brrr, right? That's what every car rig would do back in the day. And it was really difficult because you couldn't put a support beam to stop it because it's in the picture, that whatever. So I developed this thing and I said, I think I can do this to cranes. And he says, oh, you can't. As soon as somebody tells me that, he's like, George, it's thousands of pounds. I can do this. I started thinking about it. And it's funny because I hired a Russian engineer to help me, but I'm the one who came up with the idea of how to stabilize the crane, not him. But everybody thinks, oh, he's the one. No. Actually, no. I made the crane flexible. But the first one was in 3D. I came up with just the one dimension this way. He added this into it, which we didn't need, and ended up getting rid of it anyways, the side to side in the back. But so it was simple. It was actually simple.
Where do you get your ideas from?
It just comes to me.
But you're also like this with cars as
well,
right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I build my own race cars.
Right, but with the crane, you have multiple different cranes.
Yes.
And multiple different style vehicles that you mount them on?
Yes, lots of different vehicles.
So you mount them on like sandrails? And
everything. Mercedes, Porsches, Raptors, off-road buggies, Razors, all kinds of different boats. Built a system on a boat for them. They custom built a boat. Carbon fiber, beautiful boat. And that system is in Dubai right now working. Yeah. And it goes really fast. The boat goes like 70 miles an hour and it can handle the big swells. And the crane doesn't hurt it at all. We built it super strong to be able to do that. I built that in my shop. That crane, I built 5,000 pieces in my shop in the United States, even the motors. Yeah.
And then how did you get them over there to Dubai?
We shipped them. We
container.
shipped them. In a giant container. We drove the Raptor that they had bought into a container and boxed everything up and flew it over there. Right. We actually built them a shop because later they wanted me to do a Mercedes. This is kind of a funny story. They wanted me to build a Mercedes, a new bi-turbo Mercedes, but they had the Mercedes in Dubai. And I said, well, send it to me and I'll make a camera car out of it. Oh, no, George. We want you to do it in Dubai. I'm like, you don't even have a screwdriver, right? Literally. How am I supposed to do that over there? I need a shop. Oh, don't worry, George. They said, we want you to buy everything you need for your shop, for the shop in Dubai. Everything. Make a list. Ship it over. And we're going to build a shop for you over there. I went, wow, okay.
And how long did that take?
It took a few months. It took them like 5 months probably by the time it was ready to do. 6 months maybe. But we had some work to do too. So I wanted to still make some parts here in the States to ship over to make it easier over there. So I went to a rental car company in a very rich part of town, let's just say, where you can rent fancy cars. I took every single piece of the interior out of the entire car. I rented it for 10 days. I put my 3 Donkeys Racing stickers inside on the frames and stuff. I measured everything out that I needed to do for the laser cutting and CAD and everything. Put all the interior back into the car and drove it back. I did it in 6 days, actually. Drove it back and it was only 60 miles because I only went 30 miles to the shop and 30 miles back. They said, you didn't drive the car. I said, yep, didn't need to drive it much. Only had a few handful of screws left. That was it. But it was pretty good. Yeah, we put it all back together. So that's what we did.
How did you get into racing cars?
My friends raced. And I would go, to them to the races and watch. And one day a friend of mine says, hey, I'm going to buy this car. Let's race the Baja 1000. And I thought, are you kidding me? I would love to do that.
And what year was this?
This is 2004. And I thought, I would love to do that. And so he buys this off-road car. It's called the Sand Cars Unlimited, but it's built for off-road, not just sand. And we were trying to get it all approved and ready to go. And we go down to the place. We didn't even drive it. We drove it for like 45 minutes before we raced. And we went to the place and to get some part or something we needed. And I tell the owner, I said, yeah, we're going to race this in the 1000. He's all, are you kidding me? Because you're never going to make it. I said, excuse me. They said, you're never going to make it. I said, wait a minute, your car, we're not going to make it or the car's not going to make all the car. Yeah. I said, you're betting against your own car? Literally. And he's like, well, we went and raced and it was our first time out. We won our class. Yeah. With all I had left was third gear. We had third gear of the transmission, the only thing left in it that would work. And we broke a spring in the rear shock and it was funny. But now when we got the trophy, so now he puts a giant picture in his shop, Baja 1000 winner. I'm all, wait a minute, you're betting against your own car.
Yeah.
So super fun. And then Baja is interesting because it's literally addicting. Off-road and the desert. It's just, the obstacles that you have to go through are unimaginable. It's almost impossible to explain. And, I can still remember that year, that coming up, driving all night long in the dark and coming up as the sun's rising up and we raise up over this hill and I could see, must have been 100 miles in every direction. And there was nothing but mountains and deserts, no house. There was nothing. And you could see the road driving up way. I'm like, that's the road we're going on. Wow.
Wow.
It's just such a feeling that it's unbelievable. So you get to your blood and you get addicted. And the people down here in Baja are so nice. They cheer you on all the way, and it's just, it couldn't get any better. Yeah. And Baja is so wonderful. I mean, you drive a car anywhere you want to go, no mufflers, no license plates, no registration. They have their race cars on the streets. The police want you to spin the tires and have fun, Right. It's really accepted down here, the off-road community. This is the capital, San Felipe. So, yeah.
Well, since then, how many cars have you raced?
Shoot. I've raced about 85 different races. And these aren't little races. These are...
So is this just primarily score, or is it Code or...
I've done record, code, score, best in the desert. Mm-hmm. These are 400-mile, 200, 400, 1,000, 1,300-mile races, every one of them.
Right. Have you done any races in the States as well?
Yep, best in the desert, Vegas to Reno and Parker and, those Best in the Desert series. I raced the Best in the Desert series for a while. I raced Pro Truck with Ivan Stewart. Ivan Stewart had his own series of trucks, kind of like a NASCAR and off-road. All the trucks were exactly the same. Every piece, every part. Yeah, so I did that. I raced 1600 class. We took second in the class championship in 1600. Pro Truck. I raced class 10, class 1. Yeah, a bunch of different stuff. So I was lucky to have a great crew of guys that stayed in the shop and just worked on the race car. So they were always prepped and ready. I mean, it's a lot. We did in Pro Truck alone, we raced 19 races in 23 months. And that's stripping the car down to a frame and rebuilding it every time. That's 19 races in 23 months. So we had a lot. We had a lot of fun doing that. So racing just gets in your blood. Right now I'm building with the Raceland here, my place here, that I'm focused on doing that right now and finishing this, and then I'll get back into racing. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. I can't be away from racing. I'm itching to do it right now. It's been 3 years, and I want to go race. Yeah.
So do you help out with any other crews around here in San Felipe?
Well, sure. We just helped the poker run. I just went. They said we had the best pit. That would hand the cards. Everyone was dancing. We had music out there. And we're giving them shots of tequila. Right. Only in Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. So what made you decide to come down to San Felipe?
Well, a friend of mine, George Starr and Shannon Starr, I've known them almost my whole life. And they'd been coming here for 50 years now. And they have a house here on the beach. And we used to come, they used to talk about the kids, my friends would talk about, we went to San Felipe, and they went with the Spar group who owned B&M Transmission, Bob Spar and Dick Landy and Don Perdome and all those guys. They would stay at Club de Pesca and ride their Odysseys and stuff. And we'd hear all the stories about how much fun they're having, my friends that I went to school with and stuff. And we just came down. We rented a motorhome.
And this was what year?
This is 2000.
Okay, so
or 1999.
A while ago.
Yeah, 1999, something like that. And we rented a motorhome, and we thought, we're going to go down there. We're going to see the Stars place, and we're going to go there because you can camp in front at Club de Pesca there. We've never been down. I'd never been down here. I didn't know nothing. And we get in like 1 o'clock in the morning at the Arches, and we pull the motorhome over. We didn't have any directions. Right? You're trying to figure out, okay, where are we going to go? We think we'd wing it. Well, where's Club de Pesca? Right? But guess what? We pull over and we're trying to look at this hand-drawn map that we have and a police car pulls behind us. I'm thinking, oh no.
Here we go.
What's this? We're going to be in trouble. And guess what? He goes, where are you going? I said, we don't know where Club de Pesca is. Oh, follow me. Turns his lights on, drives us straight there. I'm like, I love this place. And that's how it is too. It's like, they're so friendly, so nice. They just want to help everybody. And here, at least, that's how it is. A family village, Exactly. And we fell in love with it from that point forward. Yeah.
Did you move down here immediately, or how did
No.
I
bought a house. I bought a house in Club de Pesca. I've came here for about 5 years in my motorhome. I bought a big motorhome, and I would drive it down here and stay down. And then I decided, you know what? I don't want the motorhome anymore. It's just, it's a pain in the butt. I'm going to buy a house. So I just bought a house on the beach, sold the motorhome. And then I had that house for like 13, 14 years. And then I decided, for 15 years, I wanted to build Raceland. I've been talking about it, thinking about it, and trying to figure out how I'm going to do it. And then that's why I decided, okay, I'm going to do it. I packed everything up in my storage containers and shipped it down here and said, okay, I'm starting.
Talk to us a little bit about Raceland. It's an amazing dream.
Home. It's your home.
Yes, it's your home for sure. But this is an amazing place. I mean,
people
have been talking about this for months.
Thank you.
And you had to be in the in group in order to
because it's my house.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so since that,
well, I heard from Mike Lawrence.
Yeah. And Donette,
because the boot racing for boobs,
right? And
and
they both said you got to go. You just got to go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and what a great experience they had with you as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. And for years, I would talk about what I'm going to do, and as I walked away, they go, "Oh, he's full of shit. He's full of shit. That guy's full of shit." That literally.
What was your dream?
I'm gonna. I'll tell you.
Okay.
But that's what was going around. Like really good friends of mine used to say, Johnny Johnson. He said, "Oh." At first they go, I thought he was full of shit. He's not full of shit. But the idea was I talked about the Spars and B&M Transmission, my friends from Club, they used to come down. Well, I rented my shop from them, my first shop from them for, I want to say 18 years. Right. And I got divorced in that time period, and I had nowhere to go. I didn't know what to do. And my ex-wife, she hands me the keys to the motorhomes. I still have the motor at the time. She goes, here you go. I said, well, all right, I'll move it to the shop. So I moved the motorhome to the shop, park in front of the shop. After about a month of taking up 6 spaces, my friends go, George, the other shop people are pissed. You're going to have to move. I said, okay. I said, really? These are my spots anyways, basically, right? Okay, fine. I'll move it. Give me 30 more days. And I thought, what am I going to do? I don't want to buy another house, $5,000 a month to live by myself. I mean, and drive to, I thought, no, I want to be at my shop. So I built 5 bedrooms, a little living room, kitchenette, and bathroom shower inside my shop. I built a second deck like this, right?
Right.
And in California, you're not allowed to live in your shop. You're allowed to be in your shop 24 hours a day. You can't fall asleep. It's the stupidest rule on the planet, literally. So, but since they were my friends, they didn't say anything. They let me do it. I lived there for like 10 years in my shop. I would get up at 6 a.m, get stuff ready to go. My guys would show up at 8 or 9. They'd go home at 6. Well, if they weren't overtime, they'd go home at 5 or 6, and I'd work till 10 and then go to bed. And I got to the point where I didn't even want to leave my shop. So I had people shop for me and do whatever I needed because I didn't want to go anywhere. I was building.
You were busy.
Yeah, I was building my equipment. I mean, all the hard work. It won me Academy Awards. It won me Emmys. It won me Lifetime Achievement Awards. But I was focused on doing what I did. And I kept saying, I'm going to do this on steroids in Mexico. Live in my shop. Because when I started living in my shop, my friends would come over every evening. We'd barbecue and we'd hang out. They'd drink beers, and I had all my music and instruments. We'd play music and laugh every night. So I said, I'm going to do this on steroids in Mexico. Sure you are, George. Sure you are. No, I am. And that's exactly how I did it. It's what I did. Yeah.
How many years from dream to
to now? It's been
now.
36 months. This August is 3 years because I started. My birthday's August 2nd. I started about August 13th when I got the dirt. Right?
And why the ejido?
Well, because it's a lot easier. You don't have to pay rent to anybody. I own it. It's just much better. I don't want to have to pay monthly that they could raise the rent on me or they could do whatever. I pay water and electrical. That's it. It's pretty simple.
For our listeners, we're talking about the ejido, which is north of town.
Right. And it's just south of El Dorado. It's right next to El Dorado. And it's really nice. There's a lot of nice houses here. People are realizing that they don't need to pay that $500 a month bill. You can get a nice house or build a nice house. And if you build in El Dorado, which I like El Dorado, but you have to have plans, permits, inspections. It's very difficult. It was a whole different experience here. And for me, it's much better.
And you got to do what you wanted
Whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
Nobody had to tell me what color I got to paint it or what I have to put on my roof. I got to do what I want to do. And speaking of color, I'm going to paint the whole outside desert camouflage. That's coming up next.
That'll be cool.
We'll never be able to find you.
That's the idea.
Exactly.
That's exactly the idea.
Describe what you've got here, because our podcast is listeners only. We're not on
Right,
YouTube.
exactly.
So,
And it's unbelievable what you have here.
yes, it
thank
is.
you.
Yeah.
It's a 9,000 square foot shop, all open. On each end, basically, has hotel rooms upstairs. All the hotel rooms are tiled and nice, and but have bidets in them, and the toilets, and they're kind of fancy. They're off-road like shower curtains.
Those are your guest rooms.
Guest rooms. Well, you would call it guest rooms.
Your visitor
because
rooms.
it is my house.
Yeah.
But I mean, I look at them like a hotel room because that's the way I kind of designed them after a basic hotel room.
I see.
Right? Because
Okay.
it was, they're just rooms basically.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We have a full kitchen, a full factory production kitchen with everything you can think of. The main counter in the middle of the kitchen is copper. It's a copper top. I've saved that for 13 years just to put it there. That's how long I've been saving to do these different things with this place. I have 22 mini splits, so the whole place is air conditioned. And it's a bunch of shop stuff and tools and off-road memorabilia of my life. Things that I've done, things that I've grew up with, my pictures of my family. And it's basically my house with a living room. We have a teppanyaki table, so you can do Benihana style cooking, and then a full bar, so you sit at the bar and have a drink. Or we have all instruments. We have drums, pianos, guitars, that kind of stuff for people to play if they want to play, and they do come and play and make noise, no problem.
You've got a whole setup over there.
Yeah,
for musicians.
Yeah, that's the idea, and it's all about racing. It's all about off-road. And so we can do full service to cars too. We can work on cars, do whatever we want. I'm going to get, when I get all the rest of my stuff here, one of my dreams or goals is I want to buy every junk quad in San Felipe. Every junk quad. Because there's a lot of parts on those quads that I want. The brake caliper, the Heim, the steering. And I want to make single seat go-karts that we race around out here. Like a rental go-kart. They have a track and you're running around. Yeah, but they're all the same, made out of junk parts.
You have lots of events here. You have cornhole.
Well, we've been doing that. We liked on Friday, we're having the Ruby Guzman who does the mosaic, the tile classes.
Oh, yeah.
She's having another class here. It'll be her third class here. I'm going to have classes for kids. I want to teach them how to weld. I want to teach them how to do carbon fiber. I want to teach them how to do mold making and electronics and run machines. I want to teach them how to run CNC machines and 3D printers and all the kinds of stuff that I do. So I want to have classes twice a month for the kids.
I want to join.
Yeah, I was going to say,
there's
kids.
Yeah, for kids.
Forget the kids.
Well,
But
that's the interesting
that's
part.
old people.
Yeah, well, and I also want to have classes for older women to know how to change a tire, check your oil, make sure your brakes are good. Just general maintenance on your car, things that, what to have in your car, what to carry with you, make sure you have on the road, all these types of things, and just have a class for that too. That's been one of my original goals, is to make sure that I give back some of the stuff that I got to learn to the kids, because nowadays kids in school in the United States, there is no more shop classes. It's disgusting.
No,
It's absolutely disgusting. They need a gym just for thumbs now, so they can work their thumbs out on their phone. Right? It's silly. It's literally silly. So I want to do that here. And the ones that want to do it, I'll give them a certificate. You got your welding certificate from Raceland. I mean, if it helps motivate them to build or learn or be a welder. One of the kids here, he asked me if he could work. And I said, well, I don't have any more welding for you to do. And he says, no, I want to learn. And I said, you're hired. Because kids that work for me right now in the States started working for me at 16 years old. They still work for me. I'm the only one they ever worked for. And they're 40 years old and they're millionaires. I want people that want to learn. When the kid here told me, no, I want to learn, I said, I want to learn everything. And you know what? He's learned a ton now. A little while working here. Yeah. So that's what Raceland's about. Raceland's about making sure that we take care of the ones around us any way we can. And that's why we've been having a lot of events here, a lot of fundraisers. The bus, as you talked about, the bus accident was horrific. And we raised, I want to say $5,000, around $5,000. And it was really great, but I was horrified.
Yeah.
I was the first one to drive up on the scene. Yeah. As I drove up on the scene, the dust was just settling and I'm like, what is that? That's a bus. And the whole top of the bus was ripped. They barrel rolled it. There was 55 people, but they were scattered all over the ground out in front, far away, right?
And you were coming back. You were on Highway 5.
Coming back from Chenoweth.
Right.
Chenoweth. I was with
South
Lynn.
of town.
Yeah, I was with Lynn and Anna. And I was coming back and I see it's dusty and I didn't really get a good look at it right away as it's coming. I go, that's a bus. What the heck? And I looked and I saw these black lumps on the ground, but I didn't know what they were at the time. But they were far away. It was looked like piles of clothes, basically, kind of, as you're driving up. I'm trying to get a gather on what's going on there. And all of a sudden I stopped the car and those black lumps started trying to get up off the ground and stuff. And I'm going, wait a minute, those are people. It's a bus. And now it's all making sense. Like, what is going on, right? So I thought, okay, George, what are you going to do? I have 8 of my own people in my truck. I'm like, what am I going to do? I said, okay, I need to find out which ones are the worst ones and which one I need to stop bleeding, I got to assess the situation and then go from there, right? And I said, right when I parked the car, I said, take a breath, be calm, you got this. I literally told myself, right? And I wasn't prepared for what I saw.
What was the reaction of other oncoming cars.
Every drove
other
by. People were just driving by. So at first I didn't even think about it. I got out. I started looking around to see who's the worst hurt. And I'm like, wow, that man is really hurt. He's lost his leg. Is he okay? Let's, get it stopped. People are, we're trying to help. Everyone's screaming, and there's old men with arms broken sideways trying to help their wives. And it was a church bus, right? It was the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my life. And then I thought, I can't even lift this guy up and get him in my car. He's too heavy. It's impossible. So I'm panicking, not really, okay, what am I going to do? And then my girlfriend comes over and says, George, we need to get the kids. And I went, kids? Yeah, kids. Huh? Yeah, kids. Because I was looking at the big shapes at first.
Big lumps.
The big lumps first,
Right.
And I go, yeah. And this kid walks up to me with his arm ripped off. Literally, the bone was there, but by his bicep. And I checked him. His artery was still connected somehow, but it basically was ripped off. And I just went, oh my gosh, you need help. I said, put him in the truck. I laid him in the back of my truck, and then somebody carries this other girl up, and her skin is ripped off to the side of her face. It's like skinned over here. And I'm like, oh shoot. And they laid her in the back of the truck, and I covered her face with a towel because I didn't. And then we got another kid with his lower jaw was just hanging there, right? They ended up removing the whole jaw from him. But I got him in the truck and a couple others. And then about 5 or 6 adults, I put them in the back of the truck too. And then I thought, these cars are driving by. So I stood in the street and I said, stop. And I made them stop. We were almost loaded in my truck now at my truck. And I said, stop. And the guy looked at me, and then I said, load as many people as you can in your car. There's 50 more people that need help. And he went, okay. And I said, no, don't move your car, like to move out of the road. I said, leave it right there, right in the middle of the road, because they can see you. And then another truck pulled up and stopped, and I yelled to him too, let as many as could. And then an older lady in a small white car, stopped also. And I didn't know at the time that she had also loaded people in her car. But I took off to go to the hospital, and it was 20 minutes away to get to the hospital. I called the chief of police. I called 911 first, and 911 didn't answer. It was just a bad service area or wherever we were. But I ended up calling Marco Tisnato, the chief of police here from San Felipe, and said, hey, we have a problem. And he said, calm down. Like I said, we need help right now. Where are you? What is it? Da-da-da. And he ended up sending everybody we could. And then on the way, we called Red Cross and said, hey, get all your doctors to the main hospital. 50 people are coming with horrific injuries, right? Really, really bad. And so we got that set up, and then I drove as fast as I could, but you can't go fast because you got people in the back and they're really injured,
Right. And they're going to feel every bump.
Every brake check, I only had to hit my brakes one time because somebody cut me off, and I was like, ugh, and I barely touched them, but I could tell I know it was bad, right? They knocked on the back window. I'm like, I know. So then, because then the people in my car were telling me to hurry, and I said, I can't go any faster. I said, see the car in front of me? I said, I can't. If they go to slow down, I need distance because I don't want to hit the brakes. I got to go. So we got there, and then I don't know. I was yelling at the people in the hospital, come on, let's go, and they come running out with their gloves on. Yeah. And I called Sergeant Eric here from San Felipe. He's a combat medic. And I had just given him a really nice first aid kit, a military one, and a good one. And I said, Eric, go to the hospital right now, help. So he was at the brewery, and he said, hey, there's been a big accident. I don't know if it was him or somebody else said, does anybody have any medical experience? And 4 Mexicans jumped up and went to their car and raced to the hospital. So the town came together to help these people. And then of course, we had the party here at Raceland and raised the money. It was so awesome that the town all tried to help. And so then I drove to Mexicali and brought the money to the hospital because I wanted to hand it to the people directly. Well, I thought I could just walk into the hospital. I was going to go to each room and go, how are you? No, they don't let me in the hospital. So originally, one of the office clerks came out and says, don't worry, give me the money and I'll make sure they get it. And I went, no. I said, no, it's not going to happen. I said, can you give me a list of the people's names so I can contact them? He said, yeah, we can work on a list. And he walked away. And it's like divine intervention, right? Like all of a sudden we turn around and it's 11 o'clock and it's the time for visiting hours. So the families are coming in, the exact people that we dealt with also in the accident. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed. I mean, they came to me, right to me, like literally right to me. And you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, it was weird. It was gnarly because, so I ended up giving this one lady, she had the baby, the one I wasn't going to take, the baby that I wasn't going to take, because I said, the baby's fine. It's crying. It was what I'm thinking. Little did I know that all left side skin was ripped off the thing because it's wrapped up. I didn't know. And it has a cracked skull in the back of the head. So I didn't know. And the mom set the baby on the ground to go get more kids. And we picked up the baby and she got the other kids. I'm like, oh, wow, that one's messed up too. So I said, okay. I handed her the baby. She's like, this is my baby. And I went, oh, okay. Now I understand. So she got in the back of the truck with an inside of the truck with us. And so she's there. And they're like, oh, she's George, this is the one with the baby. And I went, oh, okay, I was the baby. Because I'd heard now that it had a cracked skull. And I said, okay, it's going to be okay. She showed me a video of it laughing. Right. And I said, well, here, I gave her $800. I thought, you're going to need some help. This is going to help, for aftercare or whatever you need. Right. And I don't speak good enough Spanish. I kept saying, where is the parents of the kid with the torn off arm? Where's the kid with the parents with the jaw, with the messed up jaw? And I understood it was, they're coming. Right. They're coming. So I'm, good. Okay, good. I'm going to wait here. And at this time I had probably $2,400 left. Right. Waiting. And I wait, I don't know, it must have been an hour and a half. So I'm talking to these people. And I ask again, I said, well where are they? And then somebody now is there that translate really good. And they go, oh, well, no, those are her kids. And I go, wait a minute. All 4 of those kids are her, the one with the babies? That's the mom? And they go, yeah. I went, oh my gosh. One with no lower jaw, one with the girl, it's like a 10-year-old girl with her face ripped off, the baby with a crushed skull and the kid with the arm. I thought, oh my gosh, it can't get any worse, So then I said, here, I gave her the $2,400. And now she puts that in a separate pocket, in her other pocket. I said, just do me a favor, please. I know now that this hospital, if you want water, your family has to pay for it and bring it to you. If you want food, your family has to pay for it and bring it to you. I said, please make sure the other people get what they need, and I'll try to raise more, but get what they need for water and food. But I know you're going to need it desperately. And right then, one of the doctors comes running out, and they didn't know that I had given her money. Your baby's in critical condition. We need to get it to the United States right now. We have a ride set up. It's going to be $800. To get it to go through the border and across without having to whatever they got to do, and to get it to the hospital. And I told her, remember I gave her $800 first. She literally just reached in her other pocket and handed them money. I watched them count it, and off they went. And I thought, that's how fast it just went click, and it was so necessary and needed. And we got there in time, and it's just like how it worked out. I could not believe it. I'm all, thanks. The people of San Felipe are so awesome to contribute and to help. They didn't see the disaster. I was witness that I saw it. I can promise you it was horrific. Yeah.
So tell us about what kind of a bus was this? What were they doing? Where were they going?
It's a church bus. They were going back to Rosarito. They were 2 drivers,
wow.
And I don't want to speak out of school, but I was told they were on meth and.
The drivers.
And the guy that was driving wasn't supposed to be driving. He didn't have his license. He was just supposed to be a go-along guy or something. They arrested both of them. They ran from the scene. I saw both of them
take off.
Yeah, and I thought, what are these guys just walking away? Right? I didn't know. I'm like, oh, maybe they're stressed or whatever. When they walked by me, that's why I went, well, why are they going that way? And everybody's over here that's hurt. Right. But yeah, that's what they did. It was crazy.
Do you think it was just overcorrected, or there were potholes?
No,
because we know that there are terrible potholes down there.
I asked the pastor that was in the bus, and he said that he was erratically driving. I said, well, then why didn't you say something? Because I was in a bus in Costa Rica one time, and I said, absolutely not. he's passing people on the outside of turns and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I stood up and I said, pull this effing bus over right now. I screamed at him, said, you are not risking my life. Let me out. The whole bus started clapping. So, why didn't you say anything? He's all, well, it was just really erratic driving, but, and I thought, okay, well, he was doing like 80 miles an hour and the bus, I call it tail wag, right? It's like in your off-road car, you set up the suspension. If you want to turn left, first you turn right. And then, like this, right? So, that's what happened. He didn't set up the suspension properly in the bus. And then all of a sudden you're trying to turn and it's going like that, and if it's shouldered over, your audience can't see my hand gestures, but it's shouldered over and rolled, it barrel rolled. And why it was so horrific is because it hit a sign or a post or something as it's going along, and it peeled the roof off the bus and the windows. So they flew out through all the shards of metal and glass. That's why because had they not hit the pole, I bet a lot of them would have just stayed inside of the bus and it would have rolled like a cigar, Mm-hmm. But since it peeled it open and then it flung them, that's why they were so far away from the bus. That's why it was so odd. What are these black piles so way over there? I didn't understand it. That's why.
Well, with your background in doing stuff, I mean, it's like, wow, this was a no-brainer for you in terms of figuring out what might have happened.
Right. Well, we filmed Fast and Furious, the world's biggest bus crash ever, where it rolled. I think my friend Corey Eubanks rolled it, I want to say 7 times or something. Yeah, 7 barrel rolls. So yeah, I've seen buses crash. We filmed them. Yeah.
George, how has this experience affected you? Obviously, it's affected you emotionally a lot. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
I make images. I'm a cameraman. I'm a director. I'm the DGA. I make images, right? And I can't get the image out of my mind. It's there. It's engraved in my mind, and I think about it, and the little girl, and the people. These images, these are very graphic images that I know I'll get through, but right now I'm not. I think about them all the time.
Just playing in a loop.
Yeah, playing in a loop. Yeah. Last night we did a fundraiser last night there was 2 accidents that day. There was another car accident the same day, and one of the boys, he lives here in the Hito. He's pretty messed up, and so we raised money for him. His mom came here last night, and we got to get the money directly to her. I think we raised like $700 for that family here in the Hito, which is great. So I was really happy. I mean, everybody here has just been grateful, and I'm grateful that they're here to help. Yeah. And they ask me, how can I help?
Are there any specific lessons that you've learned from having gone through all this?
From the bus crash or just life lessons?
Yeah, well.
The bus crash, I don't think that I learned a lesson, but I wish that other people would. It's like I didn't do anything that anyone else shouldn't have done. You shouldn't need to be told you need to pull over to try to help people. I shouldn't have to stand in the street to stop cars because they're just driving by. Get over yourself. Come on. We needed help. Painted HELP in giant letters, help. I mean, if you can't see it that way, well, I don't know what's wrong with you. Right. But they just were just driving right on by.
So how were the services,
off.
The ambulances and all that kind of stuff? How did that go?
We were off before they even were close. We were off. I was panicking because I know it's called the golden hour. You have an hour of a traumatic injury. You need to get them help within that hour. Right. So I knew. So I counted the time. It was 21 minutes exactly because I checked the clock from when the bus happened and what time I got to the hospital. Well, on the way, the ambulances and stuff were going the other way. And I was in just about to town. I could have stopped one, right? I could have stopped one. And I thought, hey, if I stop one, they'll get help right now because I knew how bad they were. And my girlfriend says, no, go to the hospital. Other people need help. We're almost there. Let them go. And I said, you're right. So that was the decision we made to do that.
The one good thing was, George, that you had the contact numbers for the police. And
I got lucky.
You knew who to call to make things happen.
Yeah, and it was just I just was thinking, what can we do? So that's why I thought call Red Cross because I know they have people there that can help and they have gauze and things that might be necessary. Call Red Cross. I didn't know who else to call. I called the chief of police. I knew he was going to have he put all the resources. They got there because of him. I guarantee it.
But,
You know,
but you had the contact number.
I was lucky to have
right.
it. Yeah.
I mean,
Perhaps that wouldn't be a bad idea to have something with all the right numbers laminated in your glove box or some
Well,
kind of thing. What do you
911.
think?
Because we have 911 now.
Yeah.
Right. And we have, you know, Bella from Frankie's is one of the operators. They're doing a great job. And I wanted, she wasn't on that day, but I wanted to get through, and I was expecting her to answer the phone, 911. Because she says, George, if you have any problems, call 911. It works. Well, I didn't have signal.
Does it work on an American phone, cell phone as well?
Yes.
But
Well, they tell me it does. I haven't tried again, but I tried there, and it either was, maybe you're right, maybe it doesn't, but I was told that it does. But I was at kilometer 7 or 8, and maybe it was just in a bad spot.
Oh, and there's so many bad spots.
Yeah.
I mean,
So it could have just been a bad spot.
Yeah.
And or my service even, whatever. But yeah, it didn't work. But so we have 911. People should try it, test it, just call it with your own phone. Try and, hey, does 911 work? Okay, all I'm doing is calling for a test. I'm glad that it works from my home, wherever you live or wherever wherever you're at, just to make sure. But I think that's the best way. The police department, a direct line to the police department would be good. A direct line to the fire department would be good. Things to have in your phone for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
When the tragedy was going on, I had to try to be focused because I didn't want to make a mistake. And then, so I literally kept telling myself, take your time, breathe, think. We've been around a lot of crashes, a lot of accidents and stunts, and
thank heavens for kind of background.
people burning, and
right, exactly.
That's true.
Right.
Been around a lot of it.
What have been some of the things that you have really appreciated about moving to San Felipe?
The beauty, the people, the kindness all around, the Mexican culture. It's just, I love to go down to the Malecon and see the parade with the kids, or see the VW show, or the Mustang show, or the carnival, or all the different things that they do as a group, as families, and all the families are always together. It's like, you go to in the United States, you go to the parks, the Mexican families are in the park every Sunday playing with their kids. They're all together. That togetherness is awesome. And in this village, it's strong. Yeah.
Have you run into any cultural issues, any differences that you've had to grapple with personally?
Oh, well, yeah. The sidewalks or whatever, I stub my toes all the time. I mean, that kind of the hole. Watch out for the hole. Now you fall in 5 feet. That kind of stuff's kind of funny. And then just the stuff they do. Like my guys are really good. My construction guys, they're really good. But you look around, you go to a place, you go, look, why did they run that wire outside the wall, then back in the wall? They don't take the time to it works and it's fine, but that kind of stuff I notice a lot. But it's Mexico. That's fine. I like it that way. Yeah. I don't mind the sidewalk broken up once in a while and you trip and I stub my toe and scream at myself, but I don't get mad at Mexico, Right.
We have some just rapid fire stuff. That
Sure.
we do.
I wouldn't call it rapid fire. We don't move that
We
fast.
don't move that fast at all.
What are your favorite places to go to eat?
My favorite place is Raceland.
Perfect.
Raceland right here in this thing.
we got a big kitchen.
Yeah, but I like La Vaquita. I like Frankie's. I like Jollyman. I like Fat Boys. I like Rosita's. These places, I like them all. Las Guamas. There's so many great people, great places. Hooked, the breakfast restaurant Hooked. That is wonderful food there too. But like Rosita's, I can't believe it. When we did the fundraiser, they sent one of their workers here with money to donate for the bus victims. Rosita's did. So, and then they did something really special for me. As a thank you, I think there was 14 of us in there because I was thinking, I wanted to come and go. So I brought 14 people and I'm halfway through eating my meal and Martine texts me and he says, "You're not paying for this meal tonight." So that's awesome. That's the village. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Could you imagine that? I was trying to help him and bring 14 people here thinking, I really appreciated that they did that.
To do a thank you.
And then he said, "You're not paying for anything tonight because you're a great guy, George." Wow. Yeah. So those are the places that I like to eat at. And what else? I like to go to the Cactus Sanctuary. I like the Playa, of course, is beautiful. I like Up in the Mountains by Mike Sky Ranch. And and the Chenoweth Lodge. I got to tell you, the Chenoweth Lodge, so many people don't know
Give
about it.
them a plug.
Well, but so many people don't know about it.
It's
I just
amazing.
told somebody the other day, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, you haven't been to the Off-Road Museum?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Oh my gosh," because you have to go there, and the food is incredible. I don't care. The best filet mignon is there. I'd have to say is there, and Gonzales Market here in Mojito, where they sell the filet mignon.
Yeah.
The best anywhere in San Felipe, I'd have to say.
Yeah, Gonzales has a great meat
And
department.
Mario's has good meat too here, right next door here. That's if you want a fancy restaurant,
You won't be disappointed.
yeah, you won't be disappointed. And Mario's tacos, they have have you ever had their tacos there? They're really good too.
very
Yeah,
good.
very good. Yeah, and different.
What are they, ribeye or what?
And they have Parmesan cheese in them.
Oh, I know. I mean,
Yeah,
the whole
they're
thing.
really good.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they're ribeye. Yeah, you're right. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Well, George, this has really been wonderful. And we're going to end with our question that we always ask everybody that we've interviewed. And that is, what are we not talking about that we should be talking more about?
Well, I wish we had more time to talk about more things, but I would like to let everybody know the one thing that everybody talks about is, are you sure you're safe down there? It's like, come on, it's so safe. There's no problems. I've never even seen one. And if there is, it's a group that I have nothing to do with. So it's super safe, and people need to. It is safe, and it's a great place to retire. Try to live on your $2,000 a month Social Security or whatever it is a month in the United States. It's impossible. You live like a king down here, and you're treated wonderfully. So that's the stuff that we're not talking about that I think people need to know.
You've been down here for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
How's your Spanish? You said you...
Well, I know quite a few. Taco, burrito, baño, teléfono,
Cerveza.
escúchame, cerveza, lo siento. That's a big one. Yeah, lo siento. I know that one a lot. Lo siento.
So are you working on it?
I'm trying. Yeah. I understand it a lot, but to bring the words to the tongue is not there yet. Right. So I understand, but when I go to think of the word, it's spinning around back there and it's not coming out yet. I think it'll get better and better.
On that note, we'll be talking to you, I'm sure, in probably another 6 months or so and find out how your Spanish is doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super grateful that you asked to interview me.
It has been a pleasure. Really,
It's
George.
awesome. It's awesome.
This place is wonderful.
Oh,
Right.
thank you.
This is going to be our new home away from home.
Oh, I'm definitely glad to be living here. My life's changed for the better, for sure.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
all of us can say
Yeah.
the
I
same
would
thing,
second
George.
that.
For
Yeah.
sure. Well, thank you
thanks.
very much,
Yeah.
girls.
Thank you very much, George.
All right.
All right, we'll
All
be
right.
talking to you.
Over now.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
We want to thank George Peters for agreeing to come on the show and to share his stories and his space at Raceland. If you happen to be in the area of San Felipe, do make a point of stopping by Raceland. It's well worth your time, and George is a most entertaining and gracious host. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Remember to turn left at the cactus for no bad days.
Sipping on a margarita under a cactus on a desert cow and Trisha chatting about this town. Conversations flowing, chilling with the people here. No bad days in San Felipe, feeling community so clear.